Hello and welcome. In this video I will be taking a look at placing AI air units onto the mission editor, also making a flight plan either for AI or for yourself, and showing you how you can place user enabled aircraft as well. So to kick it off, we need to find an airfield, which there are plenty of, so we'll go with Sanaki. Sanaki is already selected as blue. Got plenty of parking, we've got heavies, and also hardened aircraft shelters for fighters, so we've got plenty of space and plenty of selection. So we'll start with fast jet. Let's see, I'm going to go with something simple, say F-15C from Flaming Cliffs. Almost everybody has Flaming Cliffs as a sort of a default module to get if you're getting into this. I certainly recommend it as your first module, purely because it's sort of a halfway house. One, it gets you used to all of the sort of systems that you sort of need to learn, missile systems, defensive aids, things like that. And also it doesn't get you too involved in the cockpit, so you can concentrate more on the outside and intercepting things or bombing things. Whereas if you dive into a high fidelity module, you're just asking for a world of trouble unless you're used to that sort of thing, because you've got to learn all the correct switches, you've got to learn there's extra systems that you need to learn, and if you've got no experience at all in that, you might as well be trying to find a needle in the carpet in the dark. So yeah, Flaming Cliffs is a definitely recommended module, and especially when it's on sale, definitely worth getting. So we'll place the F-15 over parking area 1. Now we want that F-15 to actually take off from parking 1. So what we're going to do is change. At the moment he's 6,000 foot up, doing 400 knots. We don't want that. We want him on the ground, nothing running. So come down to this drop down menu here, and we can, as you can see, you can choose from takeoff from runway, which will then put him centering the runway there, and depending on which way the wind is blowing, will set you on the correct runway. We've got takeoff from ramp, so if I select that now, he's now clicked into parking bay 1. You can also select the parking from ramp hot, which will keep him in parking 1, but all the systems will be up and running when you get into the game. So next thing we want to do is just come up to the top menu here. I always start off on parking type, just so that it's where you want it to start off with. Good starting point. Come up to the top menus here. I usually select that as nothing, because then I can choose my own armament, but if you don't know what you're doing, you can select fighter sweep, things like that. Just don't go into clicking refueling or whatever like that, because it will change your aircraft. So if we go for combat air patrol, keep it as that. Units, we can add multiple units if you want more than one flying around, and you can also set these up as your wingmen. So say you want a pair, you've got 2 there. You want one as a user aircraft, one as a computer used aircraft. You select the first one, change that to client. I don't know why player is highlighted, I always choose client, and then you can choose your second one as whatever skill type you want. So we've got a double unit there, but I'm going to change that back to an AI. But basically that is how you set up an air unit at an airfield to make it playable. But you have to have that module, obviously. You can't just go in and choose anything. And so anything that's highlighted yellow you can use as your own aeroplane. So I'm going to change that back to, let's put him as an ace, and put his wingman as a trained. So we've got an instructor and a student, say. So next we want, you can set up tail numbers, pilot names, and also you can change their call signs. So depending on what type of aircraft it is, will change the call signs. You can have all lists selected, so you can have it hidden on the map. There you go, they've gone. Now they're back. You can have it hidden on a planner, so if you've got a mission, you're selecting the mission and you want to do a briefing beforehand, you can have that hidden on the briefing. You can have it as uncontrolled late activation, so they turn up later into the game master only, or hidden on MFD. So yeah, that's that section sort of taken. You can change condition as well, sorry, so they can be beaten up. I think we can have a look in this section here. I don't know if that's going to actually change it so it looks like it's been battle damaged or not, or just look worn. We put that down to 0. No, it doesn't really. I suppose once you get into game that will change, but we'll put that back to 100. But that will change the condition of the aircraft. So that's that section sort of done. We have 2 units. We've set their skill level, their call signs, the radio frequencies all set up. Next we want to do the configurations so that we can go in, change their liveries. So there we go, 493rd from RAF Lakenheath, and number 1 we can change, let's do an anniversary scheme, let's do a special livery. Now we want 493rd D-Day. Oh, no, I've got some other stuff that I didn't even know I had. There we go. So we've got 1 of the anniversary birds as the ace pilot, and next we just want to set up some armament. So normally you can have things like, if we go to pods, you can have the air combat pods, and then on the other side you can usually put a cap 9 on, but in this instance you can't. But yeah, like I say, you've got pre-configured for combat air patrol. We've got lots to choose from, different mixtures, and we just want to do that for both units. Okay, so now unit 1, unit 2 are all set up. Fuel's all done, and chaff and flares are automatic. Guns already 100% full. So now we have a pair of F-15s on the ground, ready to go. Now we want to make a flight plan. Now all I'm going to do is I'm going to set up a flight plan so that they take off from Sanaki, land at Kataisi. So I'm just going to change this to a blue airfield so that we can land there without any issues. What I'm going to do is obviously take off. I'm going to bring them down here, put a flight plan to bring them out into sort of this area here, so that they come into to land from this direction. Actually no, I'll change that. We've got ILS this end, so if we have them take off from Sanaki, go round, and then line up and come in. So what we need to do is click on our unit, and we're going to configure, click add, and we're going to, you don't have to set anything for runway or anything, it's all automatic. So we want to send them over there. We don't want them to go to 6,000 feet, say 3,000. We don't want them going nuts, so keep the ground speed low. As you can see, when you click the ground speed and the ground speed tick, that changes this ever so slightly. We want to change the speed to, let's bring it down to 250. So from now on, when we select another waypoint, it'll automatically be 3,000 feet, 250 knots. Whereas if you just do random ones, you'll have to go back and edit each single one. So out there, out to the bullseye, and here we want to click one over the top of Kataisi. But what we're going to do this time is we're going to come to the drop down and put landing. That's automatically locked in on the runway. And now what will happen is these two aircraft will start up, they will take off, they will follow this flight plan, and then come into land at Kataisi. So that's as easy as that, really, setting up an AI flight plan. This can also be done by yourself. All I need to do is to go in and change the ACE to a client. And now when I take off in my F-15, I will get waypoints shown up on my HUD that will take me all the way to Kataisi. So this isn't just a flight plan for setting up AIs or ground units or things like that. This will be where you do your main flight plan for your mission, what directions you need to go, what heights you need, speed, things like that. Everything will all be done in here. So it's not just a mission editor for setting up AIs, it's also a major part of your own flying. If you're used to DCS and the mission editor, you'll already know this, but this is just for the new people. So we have an AI set up. We can change these to helicopters, and they'll run exactly the same thing. And they will, as I say, they'll run as a. Another thing you need to remember is to always, after you've been setting up waypoints, go to edit, because anywhere you click on the map will set up another waypoint. You don't want that, so we'll just delete that one. Click edit. Okay, and so what I'm going to do is click that. I'm going to add 2 more units. Now these ones that I've added here should already automatically have the loadouts as I've just set up for the separate aircraft. All I need to do now is just come in and change the liveries. What I should have done is gone in, done the first aircraft, and then added the others afterwards, so that saves you doing the extra work of setting configurations up. So we change the livery of this one, another 493rd. So now we've got 4 493rd F-15Cs, and I'll probably show you snippets of the flight plan at the end of this video. But yeah, as I say, you can do this with helicopters. It's not too difficult. Select your helicopter. So we're at a blue base, so we need a blue coalition country. This will always be chosen as close air support, but we can change that anytime we want. And also the Cobra is automatically selected. So we go into configuration, just place I can't put a helicopter inside there, so let's just grab that. We're going to move that to here, 67, and take off from parking hot, so that I can show you that you can go in and it's already ready to go. And what I'm going to do with this one is I'm going to send this one to Corbeletti. So we'll just configure. So the first thing I did was the parking. Now I'm going to configure the helicopter. Well, I'm going to choose one first. So it starts as helicopter, but you've got things like Apaches, of which there's an absolutely awesome module coming out soon. It's going to be one of the best helicopters you can get on here. It's so in depth, it's ridiculous. More than a match for the Hind D that was released earlier. So we've got the Apache, the D variant with the radar on top, and again we can, no, we can't on that one, but we can usually change the it depends on the country. If we change that to a blue, now we get a lot more selection. So there you go, we've got a Royal Air Force Chinook there, and I think I'm going to use that. I'll use the Royal Air Force Chinook. Going to have it as veteran skill. Keep the tail number as the same. Internal fuel's 100%. So all we need to do now is come out of this, clicking the cross, and where'd it go? Okay, so I take it that we can't have that. So if an aircraft is too big for the parking space, it'll automatically send it to the nearest parking space that's large enough for it to be parked on. So what I'm going to do is change that, drag that back over here, because I'm pretty sure I can have that on space 2. See, it's all about experimentation on here. So if we select takeoff from ramp hot, no, that's still not big enough. I can put P-52 on that parking spot, but I can't put a Chinook on there. Strange, because I'm pretty sure the wingspan of a B-52 is a lot bigger than the blade span on a Chinook. So flyover point, we're going to drag that back, drag the Chinook back, zoom in. We'll just have to change the helicopter. One of my favourites on here is actually the Mi-26. It's an absolute beast. I might actually show you that if it's selectable. There we go. Look at the size of that monster. And all of these can be set up so they can pick up troops, drop troops, pick up cargo, things like that. That sort of stuff I'm going to show in another video, but this is just the pure purpose of this video is just to show you placement and setting up a flight plan for them. As you can see, we've got Chinese. I'm pretty sure the Chinese don't have the Mi-26, but it's still a pretty cool skin for it. So we're going to change for something a bit smaller. Let's go for the Huey, and we will go for the Luftwaffe. There we go. And we're going to load it out with miniguns and rockets. Now we should be able to place this. If I place this on 15, there we go. So now we have a Huey that's, when we get into game, will start with its engine running, ready to go. So I'm just going to do a quick flight plan for that, because once we get into it and I show you how this all works out, we can watch the Huey while the F-15s start up, and then I'll go over to the F-15s. So let's do a flight plan. We'll do add, and we want to send it over to Corbeletti. So put one here, I don't want it that high. Let's go for 600 feet. And then every waypoint we add now will be at that altitude and at that speed, which is what we want. We don't want to have to keep going backwards and forwards. You can also delay the times by changing things here, so that you can have it linger around and turn up at certain waypoints at a certain time, and that can be done from there. So we'll bring that over to Kobaleti and we'll select landing, and you can also add extra bits and pieces, like the gunner's AI skill. You can change things like that. This is kind of like the special option in the options menu. So each module usually has a special options. So in there you can change things like the language in the cockpit. You can change things like that. In this case, it's changing your gunner's AI skill. You can change the infrared suppressors off of the actual Huey. So as you can see, we've got one here, but if we go here, click that, go into configuration, the suppressor is now gone. So there's little things like that that you can look into as well. But as I say, I'll look more into a more in-depth unit, as I'm going to separate ground units to things like SAM sites and different little things like that. So as I say, just for this purpose, we're just doing air units and waypoints. So we have a Huey that's set up to go to Kobaleti, and we've got 4 F-15s that are set up to go to Kutaisi. So it's as simple as that now. We can get into it by clicking this green button. It'll ask us to save. I'm just going to automatically save that, as I've got that mission editor vanilla, which it isn't because I've got Flaming Cliffs 3 in switched on at the moment, but I'm not physically using that. So it is still pretty much vanilla. I've not changed anything else in game, and I'm not actually going to be flying the F-15. So yeah, so this is AI. That's placing the units, configuring them, and then setting up a flight plan. If you've got any questions, or if I've missed anything, do send me a comment and I'll help you out best I can. I try and get back to you as quickly as I possibly can, but having a young family, I can't always get to the PC. So yeah, just bear with me if you ask me a question. So yeah, I'm gonna go into the mission proper now. There won't be any talking. I'll just show you the AI doing its bit. So yeah, if you want to watch it, you carry on watching. And if you've got this far, or if you've bared with me long enough, I appreciate it. And like I say, I'm really trying to help out the new people, because I know from experience, obviously, that I was in their shoes at one point. So yeah, this has been air units configuring flight plans for AI. So thank you for watching, and as always, I will see you in the next one. Take care.